Have you ever felt like you're just trapped in your own head, caught in a thought loop that you just can't seem to break? Well, today we're going to dive deep into that whole world of overthinking, but we're going to look at it from a totally different angle, through the profound philosophy of Carl Jung.
Oh man, we've all been there, right? It's the middle of the night, everything's quiet, but your mind is a full-blown tempest. You're replaying some conversation, second-guessing a decision, worrying about a future that doesn't even exist yet. It feels like a glitch, like a bug in your programming.
But what if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if all that relentless mental energy isn't some problem we need to fix, but a powerful signal, a message trying to break through from a much deeper part of who you are? Okay, so to even begin to understand that message, we first got to get a feel for the landscape. We have to step into the world of the overthinker. And let me tell you, it's a world of constant motion, like a restless tide of analysis and anxiety. Yeah, this really breaks it down. You've got rumination, that's when your mind is just stuck on a loop, replaying the past. Then there's anticipatory anxiety, where you're basically living in 1,000 worst-case futures at once. And of course, analysis paralysis, where you think about a problem so much that it just dissolves into meaningless noise. But see, these aren't just bad habits. They're actually your mind's attempt to build a kind of fortress against the scary, unpredictable unknown. So what's driving all this activity? A lot of the time, it's the ego. That part of us that just craves control, that needs certainty. It has this desperate belief that if it just thinks long enough, hard enough, it can solve every problem and shield us from all pain. But as we're about to find out, pure logic can never really satisfy the soul. And that brings us right here, to Carl Jung and his incredible, profound reframe of the whole situation. He saw something way, way deeper happening, just beneath the surface of all that frantic thinking. This right here, this is the heart of it. For Jung, overthinking isn't some failure of your logical mind. No, it's a sign of a deep human yearning. It's the mind desperately trying to build a bridge across some kind of void that it can't even see or name. So here's the big takeaway from that. Your mind isn't broken. Let that sink in for a second. It's not broken, it's searching. See, in our modern world, we've kind of lost a lot of our traditional anchors, things like myths and rituals and deep community ties. So the mind turns inward, trying like hell to create its own sense of order and purpose. And that search, well, it leads us to one of Jung's most powerful concepts. It's the force that so often acts as the hidden engine behind our most relentless, looping thoughts. We're talking about the shadow. Now, it's not some evil monster lurking inside you. It's more like a silent archive. It's the place in our psyche where we've stuffed everything we decided was unacceptable. Our fears, our insecurities, our deepest wounds. And here's the thing. When we ignore the shadow, it doesn't just go away. Let's make this really concrete. Think about Sarah. She's awake at 3 a.m. replaying a meeting where she stayed quiet. Now, on the surface, it seems like she's just analyzing her work performance. But what Jung would say is that her mind is actually running from something else. It's running from a deeper belief buried in her shadow, the belief that she's not enough. The overthinking is actually a complex distraction from having to feel that deeper pain. I want to just pause here for a second, because this is a big idea. Does that concept of a shadow belief being the real engine behind your thoughts, does that resonate with you at all? It's a really powerful idea, and I genuinely love to hear what you think about it down in the comments.
Now, along with the shadow, Jung also talked about archetypes. These are like ancient, universal patterns that we all share in our collective unconscious. Think of the wise sage who's always seeking truth, or the chaotic trickster who just loves to stir the pot and question everything.
So, for an overthinker, these inner forces can get seriously out of whack. The sage's healthy quest for wisdom turns into an obsession for perfect, absolute answers, which of course leads to paralysis. And the trickster's voice stops being playful and becomes that nagging, sabotaging doubt, whispering, "Yeah, but what if you're wrong?" right when you're about to move forward. The mind becomes a battlefield.
So, if all that is the problem, what on earth is the solution? Well, Jung didn't really offer a quick fix. Instead, he mapped out a lifelong journey, a path toward becoming whole. He called this journey individuation. And listen, the goal here is not to stop thinking. It's not about achieving some empty, silent mind. The goal is to become a fully integrated person, to courageously weave together all the parts of you,
The conscious self you show the world, and the unconscious self you've hidden away in the shadow.
So, how do you actually walk this path? Well, first, you have to face the shadow. You have to get brave and ask, what fear is really fueling these thoughts? Second, you can practice what Jung called active imagination. That's where you actually enter a dialogue with your thoughts and feelings, instead of just being bullied by them. And third, you consciously find and create new symbols, new rituals that give your life meaning and an anchor. And what's so amazing about this approach is that it reframes everything. Suddenly, overthinking isn't a trap anymore. It becomes a creative act. It's the raw material for building a bridge to the deepest, most authentic parts of yourself.
And all of this leads us to the final, beautiful transformation. It leads us to what happens when you stop fighting the storm inside your head and instead learn how to navigate it.
I love this comparison because it just captures the shift perfectly. You go from being a prisoner of your thoughts to being a navigator. Instead of being ruled by the mind's endless demands, you start being guided by your soul. You stop trying to fight the storm of uncertainty, and you learn how to sail through it. And that thing you always thought was your biggest flaw, you realize it might just be your greatest strength.
So let's just say it one more time because it's so important. The goal was never a silent mind. It was always a whole soul. And when you start to integrate your shadow, when you understand the messages behind all that thinking, your incredible capacity for deep thought, well, it transforms. It becomes a gift, a source of creativity, empathy, and real wisdom.
So I want to leave you with this final question to ponder. What if that part of you that you fought against the most, that restless, overthinking mind, what if it actually holds the key to your deepest strength and your most authentic life?
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey inward today. If any of these ideas spark something in you, make sure you subscribe to Mindscope Philosophy. We've got a lot more explainers coming that explore the incredible depths of the human mind. We'll see you in the next one.